Hey everyone, I'm Nicole,
And I'm Gabrielle.
and we are the hosts of the Spiritual Sisters podcast.
Join us every week as we discuss all the spiritual topics like astrology, mediumship, psychic insights, and so much more.
We are often joined by others we have met along our spiritual journey who are well versed in many of these areas.
Get ready for enlightening discussions and interviews and personal experiences that we hope will expand your mind and get you thinking outside of the box.
Whether you're a seasoned spiritual seeker or just beginning your spiritual journey, there's something here for everyone.
Check us out every Tuesday wherever you get your podcasts. See you then.
Bye!
Hi, beautiful souls, and welcome to the Soul Ecosystem Podcast. I'm your host, Anna Rising, and on this podcast, we discuss all things soul contracts. I'm a professional soul contract reader, and I work with a modality that combines numerology, astrology, tarot, and Jewish mysticism to bring about what you incarnated here to do. And I feel like I'm going to be just spouting a lot of information because we have a lot of ground to cover this episode because we are going into the Kardashians' soul contracts. And there's so much to say, even just in the primary numbers that are in their soul contracts, just in the energy of those numbers. So I'm going to kind of try and give you the highlights of each Kardashian with a bonus. Because first I was going to just do the oldest Kardashians and not do Kendall and Kylie Jenner. But then I took a look at Kendall and Kylie and I'm like, oh my goodness, we have to look at Robert Kardashian too. And we're going to start with Kris Kardashian's soul contract first. And I'll tell you all the way at the end why I needed to look at Robert Kardashian's soul contract. But let's start with Kris first. So Kris Kardashian was born November 5th, 1955. Now, as far as fives go, fives are definitely the momagers of numerology. They're very structured, very organized, and they love family. They're so family oriented. And they carry some of that Virgo energy because they like that organization, they like structure, they like routine, and they need things done a certain way. So that's the energy that she comes in with, especially since she was born in November. The energy of the 11 is that of a trooper. This is somebody that pushes themselves past their limit. This is somebody that gives it their all. If they're determined to make something work, they will break their body, but they will get to where they need to go. And that's probably, sorry, my cat's like moving my camera. That's probably why she became so successful. That determination that we see in the entire Kardashian lineage is stemming from that place because she's not the only one that was born in November. So I feel like we need to touch on that. We need to touch on 11s. 11s, also, quick fact, have a higher pain tolerance than most people. So they would make for really good athletes. They would make for really good, like, people that it's their job to push themselves past their limits. It's their job to, like, still keep going even if they're falling apart. Now let's take a look at her karmic debt, because this is the entire reason I went into the Kardashian soul contracts, because I remember looking at Kim's before and I was like, okay, like, there's a lot of energy surrounding magic here. There's also a lot of energy surrounding fear, which when a person is not in alignment, they let that fear run their lives. They let that anxiety run their lives. And it's not something that we might always see manifesting in reality. I found that as a shock that Kim was so anxious in her soul contract. Like, there was so much anxiety energy there. But maybe that won't be a shock to people that are in her inner circle or to people that watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians or know more about her. But the reason I wanted to dive into that Kardashian energy is because some of you guys have requested their soul contracts, and because my spiritual bestie from Agua Astrology and the Spiritual Sisters podcast, Gabrielle Celeste, was saying that the Kardashians are a family of witches. And I remembered that when I looked into Kim Kardashian's soul contract, there was definitely some magical energy there. There was some energy of magic having been used in the lineage. So I decided to see out of the whole entire Kardashian lineage, which members have that magical energy, that ability to use magic, or just a tendency to gravitate towards it. And in Kris Kardashian's soul contract, the karmic debt that she has is actually one of using magic. She had some secret knowledge available to her. And by secret knowledge, I mean knowledge that wasn't readily available to others, knowledge that might give them an edge up on life, an edge up on other people, and that often involves magic. If not magic, then a modality that would bless them either financially or just be put into certain positions where they hold a level of power. So that is very, very interesting for Kris Kardashian. Along with that kind of magical background from that past life, we see her have the millionaire program. No surprise, the millionaire program means that at some point in your life, you're going to come into a lot of money, whether it be through luck, hard work, inheritance, or like a lottery ticket. You're going to come into a lot of money at some point in your life. And this is one of the very few subconscious programs to see in a soul contract where it comes as a blessing. Like there's no like negative side effects. There's no misalignment of this energy. It just means for sure you're going to be coming into money in this incarnation. So when I see that pop up, I know that in a past life, she may have either saved somebody's life or did some kind of grand gesture where that soul is like, you know what, I owe you one. Like the karma from that kind deed carried over into this incarnation. Now, there's a lot of things going on in Kris Kardashian's soul contract. Nothing too crazy, nothing too red flag. But there are some programs of self-destruction, which I thought was very interesting. I wondered if that kind of alluded to the affair that she had when she cheated on Robert Kardashian with Tom Waterford or something like that. I wondered if that was a self-destruction program acting out in real time. What was interesting enough was that Robert Kardashian also has this program. And what was also interesting is that Robert Kardashian's and Khloe's soul contracts are very, very, very similar. But we're going to get to that. So along with that self-destruction program, Kris Kardashian also has the fear of magic. So when that is showing up in somebody's soul contract, that means, and this is validating again, that the past life karma that she had is a past life of her using magic. When that program is popping up, it means that magic was used in a past life and it went horribly wrong. It went horribly wrong. Whether the intention was good or whether she was trying to be malicious, whether she was trying to do something that was to punish somebody else, it went really sideways. And now she has this unconscious kind of fear of diving into magic. So if she's not practicing magic now, she may have had reservations to dabble in it again to kind of access that part of herself, part of her soul, part of her lineage. So that confirms that there's definitely some magical history in the Kardashian family. The only other thing that I saw there was the hidden secret in her soul contract, which it doesn't always mean that she's hiding something, that she has this big family secret going on. It doesn't always mean that. It can sometimes mean that she's just really good at accumulating things, keeping secrets, keeping finances, like a very good financial manager and advisor. But if it's not manifesting in a financial sense, there is some indication, there is some likelihood that there is something that she is keeping either from the public or from everybody, just to herself. It reminds me of that Titanic quote where the old lady was like, a woman's secrets are like as deep as the ocean or something like that. But yes. So that's the energy of Kris Kardashian. This is the soul contract of somebody that's strategic. This is the soul contract of someone that knows what they want, goes for what they want, and they don't stop until they get there. This is very much a by any means necessary type of energy because they have the 5 that gives them the layout and structure and the ability to plan what it is that they want to manifest. And the 11 signifies that they have the energy within themselves, the drive and the focus in order to be able to back that up. So the second soul contract I want to dive into is Kim Kardashian's. Although Kim is not the oldest Kardashian child, I do want to touch on her soul contract first because I feel like she is mostly what kind of started this wave of Kardashian fanaticism. So Kim Kardashian was born October 21st, 1980. And in that October energy, we see the number 10 along with the number 21. Those are her primary numbers. And 10 is the number of luck. 10 is the number of opportunity. And because it's in her month number, this is more so who she is, like the energy of who she is on the astral plane. Her soul essence, her chi, her energy force is rooted in that luck energy, which explains how she managed to become the sensation that she is. You will hear a lot of times, especially in celebrities, that there's a lot of hard work that is required. A lot of hard work goes into becoming a household name, but you also need a lot of luck. You also need to know the right people and to be there when the door of opportunity is opening. And Kim Kardashian is one of those people that seems to always be right next to the door of opportunity when it opens. We see the number 21, her day of birth, and this energy is the energy of somebody that was born to do really big scale things, like world-changing things, impact the world in a very, very big way. So that is the energy that's coming in from the 21. Her past life karmic debt is very, very difficult. This past life karmic debt is very rare. I've only seen it less than a handful of times. And when it comes about, I know that it means that this person has a lot of karma piled up, and this lifetime is a lifetime of servitude. They were meant to serve other people in some shape or form in this lifetime. Along with that kind of task that's set out for her, she also has the high spiritual unification mission, which means that she is going to be building a community of like-minded people. In some shape or form, she's going to be unifying like-minded people and kind of uniting them and like cheering them on towards a common goal. The second program we see manifesting in Kim's chart is the fear of magic program, which is synonymous with the program that was in Kris's chart. So it essentially means that in a past life, magic was used and it went awry, it went wrong, as often it does, especially if you're not using it for good purposes, like well-meaning purposes. And now there's this fear of kind of stepping into your power, using your power, because magic is a lot about empowerment. Magic can be considered manipulation, any sort of manipulation, any sort of force. When we think magic, we usually think, oh, like witchcraft and spell work. It can literally just be you forcing somebody's hand because you're exhibiting your power to alter an outcome, which is exactly what magic is. So when we're talking magic, don't think of it just in the terms of like channeling some kind of energy and practicing witchcraft and doing spell work. It is also something that is about intentions. You could be using magic even if you're not intending to, by using your power to influence something, influence the outcome of something. And I see this often in past life karmic debts where there was an abuse of love magic. In that karmic debt, it says that somebody forced someone else's hand, either through magic or manipulation, in order to marry them. So that is synonymous with using your power in order to alter a certain outcome. In that case, if you're taking away somebody's free will to choose whether or not to marry you by like going to your father and asking them to arrange a marriage or something like that, if you're taking somebody's free will away, that's a huge, huge karmic no-no. So when that happens, you're going to have to repay that debt in the following life if you don't sort it out in that incarnation. So when we see that fear of magic popping up in Kim's chart, we can assume that she also had an experience where she was likely using magic or manipulation in some shape or form. And now her soul remembers that past life. Her soul remembers that that went badly for her. So she might have a hesitancy towards getting involved in anything occult, anything mystical initially, because it seems like the Kardashian family is a fan of psychics. It seems like they do go to psychics. So if there was that fear there, it seems like they have surpassed it, and it is up to them in this incarnation to not repeat the same mistakes as they did in the past. Now, the next program I want to talk about that's manifesting in Kim's chart also manifested in a couple of her sisters' soul contracts. And this is kind of about being a very sensitive child to the point where you feel pain very deeply, you feel offenses very deeply. It feels very, very painful if somebody's criticizing you, if somebody is calling you names. So, in response to that kind of offense, people with this program learn to kind of try and build thicker skin, but in a way where they will make sure to offend you before you get a chance to offend them. So this is a little bit of a bullying program because that hypersensitivity turns into you trying to prevent yourself from getting hurt by kind of doing it first. It's almost like this self-defense mechanism, I want to say, where you try and kind of get somebody into defensive mode by going on the offense so that you don't have to be in defense and defend yourself from oncoming inappropriate jokes or like bullying. It's like that kind of energy. And Kim has that program as well as Kylie and their dad, Robert. The last thing I want to note about Kim Kardashian's soul contract before we move on to Khloe's is that she also has the special mission program. Now, special mission programs are not easy programs. They usually are accompanied by something traumatic, but it means that behind that trauma that you experienced, you're going to be able to have a chance to make something positive out of it, to either alter laws, to alter mentality or like societal thinking or societal norms around a certain idea. You're going to be able to bring about change through your pain. That's essentially what the special mission is, and it is reserved for the strongest of souls. I have seen this kind of program in Giselle Pellico. So that is the kind of trauma that we are talking about, and that is the kind of change and impact that can happen when you change your pain into purpose. Moving on to Kourtney Kardashian's soul contract. Kourtney was born April 18th, 1970. The past life karmic debt she has is one where she either passed away very, very young or passed away in the womb. But essentially it means that she didn't really have a chance to experience everything that she wanted to experience. So either she's going to live a life where she's very like careless, very like adrenaline seeking. She just wants to experience everything there is to experience because she feels like her time is running out, like on a subconscious level. She feels like she might not live long enough to get to experience everything that she wants to experience, or it might manifest as her being extremely careful of everything. She might feel like she can't take any risks. She has to kind of be like in a bubble to protect herself because she's afraid of dying young again. There are some red flags that I see in Kourtney Kardashian's soul contract, and some of the programs she has actually explains her unbothered personality. I absolutely love that about her. I love that it seems like nothing could faze her. And I've always aspired to be that level of unbothered. Unfortunately, I'm a Gemini. I'm very bothered all of the time. But yes, so she has a couple of programs that are like, okay, that could get a little tricky. That could go really bad really fast. Avarice is the program I'm talking about. I see it happening in soul contracts of narcissists. It's on my list of programs that I associate with narcissism because this is a person of extremes. This is a person of extremes, and they can go high to low very, very fast. It also makes sense why she has that unbothered kind of energy, because avarice people are people of extremes. When they're acting in alignment, they're able to do like all of these big generous gestures, and they can splurge on themselves, they can splurge on their loved ones, no problem. In alignment, this energy is very warm, this energy is kind, the person's warm-hearted, and wears their heart on their sleeves. When it's in misalignment, that's when things get tricky, because in misalignment, this energy is like borderline abusive, because where there was once this like energy, like high highs, where they can spoil you, where they can dedicate all of their time to you, there is an opposite extreme where it's almost like they can make this gigantic shift overnight, where at one point they're giving you all of their love, time, and attention, and the following day, unexpectedly, totally cold to you, totally uninterested, cold shoulder. It's like it's a different person. It's like it's a different energy. So that's how I see that program manifesting for her. I think in order to figure out Kourtney Kardashian, you'd have to really look into this subconscious program, especially because at the bottom line of it, because underneath all the splurging, almost love bombing, to like the next, like the alternate extreme where it's like you're being almost neglected, there's this inability to control urges, to control emotions. So it's like a very hot and cold energy. Followed by that program, we see the revenge program. Revenge program means that this person, the bearer of this program, does not forgive and forget easily. Even if they say that they forgive you, they're going to remember what you did for the rest of their lives, very likely. And they use people's grievances and people's underestimation of them. They use that to fuel them. They use that and turn it into their drive in order to get what it is that they want. There's a downside to the revenge program where they're very unforgiving, but the plus side is that they can use that to fuel them to get what they want. Along with that, Kourtney also has the millionaire program, which I find very interesting. I figured that Kylie, out of everybody, would have the millionaire program when it comes to the Kardashian family, but it's Kourtney that has it. It's almost like she's inheriting it from mom, but I've already spoken about the millionaire program. It means that you essentially have an IOU, did a kind deed, and now karma is repaying you. It's very interesting to me that all of the Kardashians have very, very different past life experiences, very, very different past life karmic debts. When we look at Khloe Kardashian, she was born June 27th, 1984. Her past life is that of oppression, like she was either oppressed or in slavery. She did not have a very happy experience last go around. So currently in this life, she has a couple of programs going for her. One of them being the Fairy World Writer Director program. She'd make an excellent writer, an excellent director. She also has the Magical Knowledge program. Every time I've seen the magical programs pop up, guys, aside from Kris Jenner's, they're always manifesting on the paternal line. The numbers that symbolize the programs are always sitting on the paternal ancestry, which means that this magic energy is coming from their father, from Robert Kardashian, which is why I was like, okay, I need to take a look at Robert Kardashian's soul contract to see if he has any magical abilities, any magic in his lineage. Because I found that very strange. Usually that kind of magical knowledge is coming in from the maternal ancestry, from the mom's side, where if it's manifesting in the women in the family, it's going to be coming from the female ancestry, the mother's ancestry, right? But for the Kardashians, it's all collectively manifesting from the paternal lineage, which I thought was really crazy. Unlike Kris and Kim, Khloe has a different kind of magical program. Khloe has the program where she had magical knowledge available to her, and she was actually studying it. She was likely practicing occult or like doing like getting into esotericism, maybe mystical teachings, modalities. She was actually practicing it, but her work was cut short. And I have seen a couple of past lives with this kind of program where women were like accused of witchcraft because they were like doing herbology and like they were burned at the stake. That's the kind of energy that the subconscious program has. And Chloe feels like the scapegoat. Chloe has the scapegoat of the family energy. She has likely experienced a lot of lifetimes where she was blamed for things, unjustly so, things that she wasn't doing. And I think that's why she has the past life that she has, where she was oppressed, where she was likely abused. A lot of the slavery past lives have to do with abuse. But she also has the high spiritual unification mission. And guys, whenever I see that, I feel like this person is meant to have an impact on their chosen community, on the people in their lives, on the people they associate with, and on consciousness on some level. So I love that for Chloe's chart. I would say that there's only one subconscious program that's a little bit of a red flag, but that's if it's in misalignment. So this subconscious program is the Inquisition program. And in alignment, this is a very determined person. This is a very like, I can do anything. I'm going to show all of you guys, like, I know who I am. I know my worth. In misalignment, this is somebody that can turn a little tyrannical, a little controlling. So there's some danger with that there. Let's go into Kendall Jenner's soul contract. I'm trying so hard to like give you all the snippets, all of the highlights, all of the best parts of their soul contract because there's so much to go through. Kendall was born November 3rd, 1995. Again, we see that 11 energy coming in, that determination, that drive, that ability to push oneself past their breaking point in order to get what they want. I love that energy so much. Accompanied by the 11, we have the 3 energy, which is the energy of the divine feminine. This is the energy of abundance, luxury. This person was meant to experience wealth, experience bouginess, experience luxury, experience abundance in this lifetime. But when we go into her soul contract, there's a lot of programs going on. I think out of all of the sisters, she has the most programs, which in alignment, this could be a very good thing for her. If she's following her path, it means that all of these programs are acting out in their positives and giving her an advantage, like helping her out through this incarnation with extra skills, extra blessings. In misalignment, though, there's a lot of things going on here that could be very negative, could start manifesting very negative. We see her have the same program as Courtney, the avarice program, the program of extremes. We also see her have a love triangle program. That one essentially means at one point in your incarnation, you are going to be involved in a love triangle, whether consciously or unconsciously. It could be a situation where somebody starts courting you, starts trying to get your phone number, but you don't know that they're married, and you later find out that you were involved with a married person. So there's potential for that. She also has the prison program. And when I tuned into the energy of that, that feels like she might feel stuck with contractual obligations in this incarnation. It feels like there's going to be certain events or certain situations that transpire in her life where she feels like she has little to no control. She feels stuck. She feels like she cannot leave, cannot get out of something that she doesn't want to do anymore. Sometimes I see this manifest as an actual prison sentence. I've seen it manifest in actual criminals as a prison sentence, but it doesn't always mean a prison sentence. This could also be a prison of the mind where you cannot get out of a loop that you are repeating. Those are the biggest red flags when it comes to Kendall Jenner. I don't know if there are any other ones that are worth like mentioning, but I want to touch on Kylie's soul contract now because Kylie's kind of threw me off, and it's not just because I was expecting the millionaire program. However, she does have the same program that Khloe Kardashian has with the magical knowledge. She also has a past life of addiction or infidelity. That past life is indicative of having a past life where you either had an addiction and brought a lot of pain to your family because your family had to care for you through that, through an addiction, or you were in a situation where you were unfaithful and hurt your family in that way because you stepped out of your relationship. Sometimes this manifests as that cycle repeating again. Sometimes it manifests as you seeing that cycle repeat in your family. So sometimes when this kind of past life comes up, you're going to see people in your family either struggle with addiction or infidelity. Now, in Kylie's case, I'm not sure if I've heard anything come up about her being unfaithful or somebody being unfaithful to her in a relationship, but I know that she witnessed that kind of infidelity dynamic happening between her mom and her dad when that happened, when the affair happened. When it comes to her subconscious programs, there's a couple red flags because she has that sensitivity program that we talked about where in an effort to not get hurt, you decide to hurt other people, you decide to go on the offense and turn into something of a bully. Robert Kardashian has this as well as Kim. On top of that, she also has the best/worst subconscious program. And that's literally what it's called, and that's literally what it is. It is somebody that you don't truly know unless you have personally been around them for a long enough time. This is somebody that, like, at their core is a totally different person. And this is what absolutely threw me off about Kylie because I feel like I liked her. Out of all of the Kardashians, I feel like I really, really liked her vibe. But I guess I like the persona that she puts out, the persona we see, the mask we see on the news, like on Instagram. Because this program is indicative of something more sinister. If it's in misalignment. If it's in misalignment, we can safely assume that there's like a Jekyll Hyde situation happening here. If it's in alignment, this person is likely the best person that you've ever met. In misalignment, this person could be the worst person you've ever met. So I feel like this is kind of like this a very similar energy to Courtney's in her soul contract, where there was kind of like this hot and cold bipolar thing going on. But this is like, you don't want to mess with Kylie because she can get particularly nasty to the people that do her wrong, to the people that screw her over, specifically because of this program. So on one hand, I love that for her because it feels like there's good boundaries, but on the other hand, this is a little bit scary because, like, how bad would it get, you know? So yeah, don't know how to feel about that soul contract in particular. She's like the baby of the family, so maybe there's a little bit more unhingedness to her than she lets on, than we see. But that particular program, out of everything that I have read up to this point, that one's the most concerning. Now, the reason I looked into Robert Kardashian's soul contract is because I wanted to find where the magic lineage is coming from. Like, are these descendants of Merlin or like like the Knights of Templar or something, or like Freemasons, you know? Because there's got to be something there, right? Well, Robert Kardashian was born February 22nd, 1944. And while he does not have any subconscious programs manifesting in his soul contract, his past life karmic debt has to do with magic. His past life karmic debt is where love magic was not used properly. And this is exactly the example that I gave before, that we're talking about soul, like somebody being so in love, so obsessively in love with someone that they used love magic. It doesn't always have to manifest as actual witchcraft or spell work. It could be that he was so obsessively in love with somebody that he took their freedom of choice away. Oftentimes, when you're doing that with witchcraft, it's through love potions, right? Where you're like, I'm in love with this person. I want to be with them. Can you make me a love potion, witch doctor? Like, I want to be with them. This is really obsessive. And the lesson behind this past life karmic debt is to learn not to force other people, force your love onto other people, force them to love you back. There has to be this reciprocity that happens and you have to wait for it. Sometimes it just doesn't happen. Sometimes it doesn't happen and you have to move on. And this is something that Robert Kardashian did not know in a past life, which really makes me wonder what happened between Robert and Kris, especially with that infidelity. To me, this gave off the vibe that Robert was really obsessed with Kris Kardashian in this incarnation. Maybe they played this scenario out before where he was obsessed with her in a past life and he forced her to marry him. So maybe Robert and Kris were meant to not be together, meant to divorce, meant to have Kim, Khloe, and Kourtney and then not be together anymore. That's the kind of vibe this gives off because it feels like Kris was a very karmic relationship for Robert, especially with the affair. In addition to the love magic that we see in Robert Kardashian's soul contract, he also has the mother wound, which predicts that a partner of his would cheat on him because he has a mother wound. Because he has a very hard time understanding the women in his life, has a hard time building relationships and connection with the women in his life. Oftentimes, this even goes into like sexist levels. It could be pretty extreme. It could be just like borderline like sexist, but there's definitely like problems with women. And it means that he's going to experience his partner cheating on him at some point in his incarnation, which is unfortunate. But yeah, guys, that is what I have for you in regards to the Kardashians. I hope you guys enjoyed diving into this because I feel like I learned a lot about their dynamics and their energy. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I'm so sorry I missed last Friday. I was absolutely jam-packed with work on my soul space course where I teach you how to read soul contracts, not just your own, but soul contracts of others. If you guys were interested in doing so, learning how to do this, how to calculate soul contracts, I will link it below. Otherwise, have a great weekend. I will see you next Friday.